everyone. We are so privileged to be on the campus at Utah Valley University, to be sitting with the formidable president and Dr. Astrid Tuminez. You can't be around President Tuminez for but just a few minutes to know that pom-poms are as close to you as is a microphone or a pen and paper. These are the tools of the trade, and
Actually,
I'm confident.
These are the tools of the trade.
That's great. These might come into play a little bit later, but you need to know that we're in the presence of an individual that I absolutely respect, but it's because she is a woman of action and of impact. And I think that she typifies the spirit of Utah Valley. And you've lived all over the world. You've lived in so many different parts of the country as well as the globe. What makes Utah Valley so unique? Like, how do we even stack up against the Hong Kongs and the New Yorks and the Moscows?
Well, it's certainly very different, for one, and there's a very good reason why I came. I came first because I think there is a great higher education system here, and most of all, I came for this university that I lead now, Utah Valley University. I saw scale in it, I saw really strong foundation, strong DNA, a terrific focus on inclusion and diversity. And then, of course, it's situated in Utah Valley that I knew as an 18, 19, and 20-year-old. And I saw this place as a place that was growing. It's still small. It certainly is very small compared to the cities that I've lived in. But there are elements to Utah Valley. I think great people, number one, great people here. I have felt more goodwill around here than any of the other places that I've lived in. Second, a great sense of energy and ambition as well. So Utah Valley may be small, but when you look at the universities here in our region, we have Utah Valley University, we have Brigham Young University, 70,000 students, a lot of energy, and that's not just the universities, it's also the startups, which I think are just very exciting to see growing. And then third, what makes this place special too, I think, is the outdoors. And a lot of people will say that about Utah, and I kind of knew that in theory, but really came to know that at a granular level during COVID, because we couldn't travel, right? So we were stuck, and stuck to me meant exploring everything here, driving south, driving north, and really seeing face to face what a beautiful, amazing place we live in. Everything is here: hiking, swimming, kayaking, snowboarding, river rafting, climbing tall mountains. I climbed Mount Timpanogos last summer. That was a first for me.
You've mentioned now a couple of things that I know your presidency is making a marked difference. Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yes.
And then you mentioned first generation students. I gotta say that this is more than just hyperbole. I feel in the culture of the university here, when you walk the campuses, when you see the diverse student body, that in fact we're perched right at an unbelievable, beautiful area.
Yes.
And I can see students just now walking up the stairs, and I recognize that work truly is being bought in and received by our community. Talk to us a little bit about why the first gen experience has been something that is going to be your hallmark at the university.
Well, I am a first generation student myself, and I also want to mention a couple of interesting statistics. 37% of our entire student body is first generation. We are also 19% students of color. There is usually correlation between minority populations and first generation. So my parents didn't go to college, and I certainly know that my entire life's journey is very much due to the fact that I got an education. And I grew up in the slums. I'd still be there if I had not gotten an education. So the other thing I think that I would tie in with that is the American dream. And in other situations, I've mentioned the study done by Professor Raj Chetty of Harvard, where he asked, where is the American dream best served? What parts of the world? And the American dream means being born into the lowest quintile of income, but then moving into the highest quintile of income. And Salt Lake City was ranked at the same level as Denmark, pretty much the top in the world. And I think it's not just Salt Lake City, I think it is Utah, but that has to be tied in with education, because if you don't have skills, you don't have competencies, you don't have confidence, you were never trained to speak or to work with others different than you, your chances of succeeding become much lower.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm answering your original question, but the first generation issue is something we have to really embrace. I think it is a complex mandate, but we have to give people the wherewithal to help themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a richer community overall. We have a mantra that we've been using since I arrived here, and it's "Come as you are." Yeah. UVU has a place for you, and that statement is quite powerful because from the get-go we say we don't really care what your life experiences are, or whether you're poor or you're drug addicted or you almost failed high school, or maybe you were a 4.0 student and you were the student body president and your parents both went to Harvard. We sort of are agnostic. We are just saying to you, we believe you have more human potential. And if you come here, the faculty will mentor you, and hopefully you work with peers who are also very different or who challenge you, and you come out of UVU a better human being overall, that you have a greater likelihood of succeeding in life and in work, and those two come together.
When you see a student whose eyes are maybe downcast and their shoulders are slumped, what would you say to a student like that?
So I hope that on a one-on-one basis as well as one-to-many, that the students of UVU feel, how proud I am of them, how excited I am to be here with them. And there's a reason for the pom-pom, inevitably we'll get to the pom-pom.
Yes.
So this is both a literal pom-pom. You've seen me at a lot of athletic events.
I don't know that I've seen you without them.
Yeah, never without them.
Event.
I even went to Tulsa, Oklahoma to the Big 12 Wrestling Championship, and I didn't care who was watching. I had the pom-poms and projected my voice so that our wrestlers could hear me. But I think, again, literally, I'm cheering for them, and metaphorically I'm cheering for them, because everything that I do is sort of has to serve the student. But when I see someone slumped, I hope that I'm sensitive enough, and I've had quite a few of those one-on-ones, and some of the notes that I've received, which have been very pithy and emotional, where I didn't even know that I had said something that made the student decide, hey, life is worth living, I'm not going to give up today. So I think at UVU, the reason that our first core value here is exceptional care is that it's not just about me facing a student whose shoulders are slumped. It is every staff member, every professor, every student, all of us, our donors, our supporters, you and your family, when you show up with your enthusiasm, we are creating a community that believes in itself. We are creating self-love and care. And when we do that, we empower others. We cannot do other people's jobs for them. We can't live other people's lives for them, and we don't know what darkness they face. We can only know our own darkness. And yet when we shine a light by really being there and being accepting, I think that's a pretty magical ingredient in the community.
Well, President, our time today has just been delightful. I've watched with admiration from both the sidelines of a basketball court as well as meetings that you run. You really do live the words that you teach. The particular attributes that you have brought because of who you are felt as a part of the culture here at Utah Valley. I'm grateful to have two kids that come here.
I'm grateful they're here.
I'm grateful for our partnership between the Utah Valley University and the Utah Valley Chamber. I think there's only one thing left that we need to do with our pom-poms, and that is that on 3, we need to say, "Go Wolverines." Ready? 1, 2, 3. Go Wolverines!